UFC Baku, Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree is upon us this Saturday, guys. That means Mr. Kenny's going to get in his bag. I looked at this card. It's actually a pretty decent card. A lot better than the card last week. And, bro, the card last week, name value-wise, lacked, and they underperformed. This card, like, the names on it, like, I know there's going to be some performances. I doubt it's going to be anywhere near the realm of boring that last card was. Only thing of that last card was an Usman win that got me hyped. Speaking of Usman win, hey. Listen, guys, jokes aside, Hamdy's coming off a win. I didn't think he won his last fight. I remember watching it live. I actually had bread on Hamdy and I celebrated because, like, oh my God, he won. But I remember, like, seeing him, I think it was Jamal Pokes. He just looked a step behind in the striking almost, and it looked like he was getting desperate with the takedowns, but they weren't sufficient enough. Hamdy's he's not a bad fighter per se. He looks like he starts well and then kind of slows down. Where I look at Muhammad Usman, he doesn't do anything crazy well either. Of course, losing to Thomas Peterson is not that bad. Like, I don't think that's a horribly aged loss, so he is not riding momentum, but it's gonna be a close fight. Like, Hamdy's undefeated, so on paper, yeah, man, undefeated dude's gonna run through Usman. I don't think so, man. And I know Usman's a slight underdog, I believe. And I think first fight of the night, I'm going to chase the underdog money. Not just because he's an underdog, but because stylistically, Usman's not the best wrestler, but he mixes up his weapons pretty well. Like, he doesn't always shoot takedowns, but he'll fake takedowns here and there. I just have like a hair in my tongue. He'll fake takedowns here and there, and he makes decent choices if he's not getting overwhelmed on the feet. I look at someone like Hamdy. I don't even see him overwhelming someone like Usman on the feet, especially after the first round. Hamdy might start well, but I don't think he's going to keep up with Usman because Usman, like, he doesn't really fatigue. Like, he always kind of comes forward and keeps going for it. Even if he's failing takedowns or failing situations, he keeps pushing for it. Thomas Peterson has good takedown defense and good boxing. Better than Hamdy, a lot better than Hamdy. So that was a huge step up for Usman. This is a big step down, I feel like, even though it's an undefeated prospect. And I think Usman pulls it off as an underdog. So first official pick of the night, we're going Muhammad Usman, the Usman brothers back-to-back. Let's hope Kamaru's in that corner. Okay, this is an interesting one here. We got, get me away from that ugly boy. We got Tagar Unabekov and Azat Maxum. Don't know much about Azmat, but he's he's Kazakhstani maxing, like the Kazakhstan with like the great record with either the 0 losses or the 1 loss. This guy only has 1 professional loss. He's coming off that loss, and then Tagar, who's a really good fighter. This is Russia versus Kazakhstan, But I'll be real, this Azza guy, like, I don't know much about him. He's getting wins, like, not really big promotion wins. When I seen him in the UFC, he just didn't look all that great. He's not bad, but he just doesn't look all that great. His record's a little bit concerning. Like, I'm like, how is he 17-1? Who are you going against? Because his last performance, I didn't think he looked all that great. Tagar is all right. Tagar's good. He's not like the best of the best, but he's a pretty dynamic striker. And if he needs to wrestle, he will mix it up. I think I'm going to lean Tagar here. I think he's going to be a sizable favorite. Yeah, -290 is pretty big, but I understand it. Tagar's more experienced. Azza is like kind of, I just haven't seen much from him. And when I have seen him, he just didn't look all that great to me. He's going to be decent in the striking. I don't know if he's going to keep up with Tagar in the grappling if he wants to go that route, but we'll have to see. Like I said, I still have to see more of Azza on the ground and stuff, but we're gonna have to see how that fight plays out. But I do have a decently sized favorability to Tagar. I think he's gonna get it done, and he's gonna do it in Baku. Women's fight, bro. I'm so excited for Irina Allesav versus Claudia Sagula. I'm probably butchering these names, Jokes aside, Sagula's kind of bad, like from what I've seen. Irina looks decent. I think Sagula, I watched her get knocked out or finished by Melissa Mullins or something. I forgot her name, but I think she's on this card too. Sagula's just not that great of a striker, and I feel like that's the only thing she has going with her striking. So if you're just not that good at striking, that's the only thing you have going, and you're going against this fucking Kazakhstani woman, you're probably going to lose. I'm going Irina Aliskeva, whatever the hell that name is, and I really don't know much film about her, but I know she's coming off of, they're both coming off of losses, but I know that Irina is a little bit more established in the UFC. She's a -225 favorite, which I'm not really surprised by. But women's fights, you never know what's going to happen, but I am not going to favor Sagula just because what I've seen from Sagula on the feet, she looks very mid to me. Next fight, Daria, I'm not even going to try the last name, and Melissa Mullins. Melissa Mullins is the one who knocked out Sagula, or TKO Sagula. Daria Naikava. Bro, with a name like that, it has a hard time betting against her, but since I know how like heavy-handed Melissa Mullins is, as well as a good striker Melissa is, I'm going to lean Melissa. And on top of that, I know that Melissa's only loss, I believe, was Nora Cannoli, who's actually a pretty good complete MMA fighter. And Daria, I think I've seen Daria get like embarrassed. She was the girl who's like a decent, supposed to be a huge prospect or a decent prospect, and she looks absolutely horrible, and she was getting destroyed. I remember her because she was getting like fucking mauled and like embarrassed, and she looked like she was fatiguing. That's where I didn't recognize that face from. But yeah, she's not that good. She had a lot of hype going into it. I swear when I watched her, she was undefeated, or she had like one loss. And then she lost kind of one-sidedly. I don't know if it's her. I'm pretty sure it's her. And then Melissa Mullins, like I said, she's a good striker and she's heavy-handed. So, like, I don't think the Russian's going to keep up with her. They're both going to be decent strikers, but I'm going to favor the Mullins over this because she does have the power factor and the X factor. So I'm going Melissa Mullins pretty comfortably in that pick. Ismail Nardia versus Ju Young Park, the turtle, man. The turtle. I want to see him hit that fucking, that turtle emote. But one thing I noticed about the turtle, guys, is like every fight, even winner, he has competitive fights all the time, doesn't he? Win or lose, I feel like it's competitive. He doesn't really do anything alarmingly well. Tavares' fight was really close. It could have went either way. Honestly, could have really, I think at the end of it, I thought Tavares might have edged it out, but I knew it could have gone either way. Like, Park's just good at being a marauder. Like, he's not going to give up. He's not going to bite down his, like, he's going to keep biting down his mouthpiece and keep bringing the pressure. Ismail Nardia, from what I've seen, he's pretty dynamic. He moves pretty well. He looks a little bit more flashy and a little, on paper, I think he's the better fighter. But, it's going to be Park's grit that I feel like could, like, edge him out in his activity. So I'm going to go Park in this one. I'm going to go Park. The odds are pretty close. He's going to be very athletic. I think he might steal the first round, but I think as the fight goes along, Park's going to start to build momentum. But like I said, Park doesn't look alarmingly crazy to me. Doesn't do anything really well, but I just like him. He kind of reminds me like Orbaev. Like, he doesn't really do anything crazy good, but he has good volume and good grit, and he gets wins from that. South Korean Seo Hyun Ko. Don't even know if I said that right. Was my boy Oben Elliott. I like Oben, Oben's a cool guy, bro. He's a cool guy to have a convo with, man. Listen, Oben is riding crazy momentum. I haven't seen him fight in a little bit, it felt like. I don't know why it's felt so long. Maybe it's been over a year, Or maybe I'm just... Yeah, but when Oben's in there, bro, this guy is he's a dog, man. He's a dog. They're giving him someone who's making their UFC debut, fought on the Dana White Contender Series, of course. But I really think... Ko's going in there to be a lamb to the slaughter. I do think Oben Elliott is gonna look for like a flash KO, a highlight reel moment. Oben Elliott, when he gets going on the feet, he's really hard to keep. He's hard to get control of. Like, you need to have some kind of like wrestling to negate him or slow him down a little bit, because if not, he's gonna put the beats on you like Dr. Dre. And this South Korean's not huge on wrestling, so we're gonna have to see how this fight plays out. But I am going heavily for Oben Elliott by KO or points. Main card. This card's actually pretty. This card's solid, Muhammad Nimoff versus Bogdan Grad. Grad's a marauder. Nimoff is coming off a win. The thing about Nimoff that makes him so good is that his striking is really good and he mixes it up really well. Like, he knows he could probably strike with a lot of people because he has the power and the agility, but he could also wrestle and he mixes it up and he gives you a lot of weapons to look for. I actually like him. The fact that he's 12-3 is actually surprising, because I'm surprised the losses he's faced in his career, because he's actually really dynamic, and when he mixes it up, he's almost impossible to stop. Grad is more like a marauder. He's going to come forward. He's going to try to melt you, and it's possible for him to do it. And he can mix it up because he's actually, physicality-wise, he's a pretty big guy for a 145 at 5'8". So it's going to be an interesting fight. I think if Muhammad Nimoff fights to his game plan like he usually does, striking and then mixing it up, he should mix it up with Grad. Grad's going to be strong in the wrestling as well too, but I do favor Nimoff there as well. I give Nimoff every favor. The only thing I could give Grad is that he might be a little bit more active and try to walk down and overwhelm Nimoff to a point where like he can try to smother his offense, but I don't think it's going to be enough. So I am going to go Muhammad Nimoff. I don't know the odds. Minus 225. Pretty decent. Nimoff sometimes is a huge favorite, so the fact that this it still seems like a big favorite, this is actually pretty close odds considering who's fighting who. So I'm going to go Muhammad Nimoff, and I'm going to go by him by KO points. The Tagastani is pretty good. Tagastani. All right, next up, Nazim Satakov versus Nicolas Mota. Wait, I think Satakov's the guy who knocked out Bonfim. Was he the guy who knocked out Bonfim? Nazim Satakov did knock out Bonfim. Yeah, and I felt like it was, I don't want to say a fluke, but it surprised me because I actually had Bonfim winning that fight. Dude, yeah, Satakov surprised me. To be fair, Bonfim's chin was in the air. It's like he wanted it. This is going to be a tough Brazilian, but I don't think he's going to be tough enough. I think he goes in there against a Russian Satakov and gets outstruck and probably hit really hard. But it's going to be tough to finish Nicolas Mota. He's not even a crazy fighter, but he's just going to have a crazy durable chin. He's going to try to walk him down. I'm going Nazim Satakov by KO points. All right. Taufeeq Muzziah versus Orbaev, otherwise known as Orbaev. You know, the most aura in the UFC. You know, this guy, handsome guy. You know, handsome guy, little bitch. You know, his last fight was a fucking war. You know, before his last fight, I feel like everyone was on the hype train of Orbaev, but deep down, I feel like we all knew like Orbaev doesn't really do anything crazy impressive. His wrestling is not like crazy Hamza Islam wrestling, Habib wrestling. His striking is not fucking it's not really anything good. What he does is work hard well, and he mixes up his tools well. You know, I don't know a lot about Taufeeq Muzziah. I'll be real. What I know is he's making his UFC debut. And I seen him in the promotional scenes. I seen a little bit of him. And he's beating up these guys. I believe it was Ryzen. He was fighting in Ryzen. Not Provoked. Yeah, Ryzen. And Ryzen, we seen what happened when the Ryzen champion came against Pantoja. You know, there's a significant skill gap between UFC and these other things. So I am going to want to favor the UFC 9 times out of 10 when I see matchups like this. And the fact that I like Orbaev and I know he's going to be a dog. He could get rocked. Like, he was getting beaten, bro. His last fight, the fact that he even had the willpower to continue showed. And he almost stole the round as well, the third. Dude, Orbaev, I'm going to go in by grit and tenacity. Orbaev by grit and tenacity. This Ryzen guy is going to come in and understand the UFC level a little bit different, and we're a little bit more handsome here. This is what I think about the situation. All right, Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. I'll be real, chat. I still don't know much about Kuniev. I remember last time I was thinking about this fight, I was thinking Kuniev might shock people. But honestly, like, from what I've seen of Kuniev, it's hard to gauge like footage because I feel like he hasn't really won against anyone suitable. You know, this is a high level UFC fighter, you know. So it's kind of hard to bet against Curtis Blaydes. I know we've seen Curtis Blaydes get out grappled by like the likes of like Jalton Almeida, and this Russian guy maybe can out grapple him, but I don't know, man. I feel like Kuniev's primarily more of like he wants to stand and trade, and I feel like Curtis Blaydes can actually stand and trade pretty underratedly. He did it really pretty well against Tom Aspinall, I feel like, but it's gonna be an interesting matchup. I just want to if Kuniev can keep cardio, he'll beat Blaydes, but I just don't know how good his cardio really is. I haven't seen him deep that like tired or working hard in a fight like that yet. That being said, it's a hard fight to like fully assess, but I think I'm gonna. Dude, why is my gut telling me Kuniev? I feel like I got to follow my gut here, and I'm going to go Kuniev. Because I think I picked him off of vibes last time. I think I'm going to go with vibes and just debut luck. Not debut luck, but Curtis Blaydes, man. I don't know. I think Curtis Blaydes was the one who got sick or something. This fight got pushed back. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with Curtis Blaydes. I'm going Kuniev. He's an underdog. Screw it. Dale, brother. We're going Kuniev by vibes. Next up, I never vibe picked. That was weird. But I have a feeling, guys. Trust me. I'm the best. Trust me. But next up, Rafael Fizz versus Ignacio Bahamandez. People always ask me about this fight. Of course, Rafael's coming off a loss to Justin Gaethje where he just pretty much fatigued. He looked pretty good early on, but he fatigued. That has something to do with the ring rust. He's getting back in there. He's going to be less ring rust. But the thing is, you're 5'8". Ignacio is 6'3" and uses his range really well. And he's good at defensive grappling and he's good at scrambling. And on top of that, Fizz is not the type to shoot wrestling attempts or shoot takedowns or try to hug you against the fence. It's going to be a primary kickboxing fight, and let me just tell you right now, closing the distance on Ignacio is going to be problematic, very problematic. You know, one thing I will say, Fizz really reactive though. I remember when Justin Gaethje was trying to fire his low kicks, Fizz will catch it and take him down really quickly. That's actually how the Gaethje and Fizz ended up in that weird position, you know, where like it was almost like, I don't know what the kind of position that was, but Fizz was on top and like kind of sitting on Gaethje's face. I don't even know what that was, but Fizz being really reactive, it could be problematic if Ignacio's trying to throw like low kicks because he probably will try to catch it and hit him something big or catch it and take him down off that. But I just think the range in the jab, and I just feel like Ignacio's like the warrior spirit that he has as well. It's not going to be easy to outwork him. And seeing Fizz being susceptible to like kind of fading away as the fight prolongs, even against a Justin Gaethje who doesn't have the best cardio, I really feel like Ignacio is going to be the guy I'm going to lean, and I think I'm going KO or points. I do not know the odds. They're not even available here. I don't know the odds in general, but I feel like Ignacio is going to use his length and his volume, and he's going to outpoint or knock out Fizz. So I'm going Ignacio Bahamandez, my friend. And the main event of the evening, I kind of made a video already talking about this, but we got Jamahal Hill and Khalil Rountree. Of course, both mutual opponents are Alex Pereira. Jamal's last fight, Yuri Prochazka, he has a little bit of competitive fight, but I'll be real, Yuri was in control like 99% of that fight. Khalil, last fight, Alex Pereira, he went to war, he showed warrior spirit, he ultimately faded. And, Jamahal Hill is one of those guys, if you fade against him later in a 5-round fight, he's going to try to put it on you like he did with Glover and all these other guys, He's used to going to wars like this, and it's hard to outwork Jamahal Hill at that point of the fight, but the problem with Jamahal, he's going to be a lot slower, in my opinion, than Khalil Rountree. I know Jamahal said Khalil only has a puncher's chance. I think that's kind of funny. I don't think that's the case. I do think there's a world where even Khalil could win on points. I do think Khalil could catch him as well, because Khalil's really explosive, and to get away from a lot of his explosive attacks, you kind of have to hop back and jump back, or lateral move pretty well, like Pereira would do, or these other guys to do to evade his shots. But Jamahal Hill's lack of footwork is kind of concerning. He's kind of slow. He has no knees, no ACL, bro. And going against someone who has heavy ass low kicks like Khalil Rountree and heavy ass obliques. RIP those knees, man. Those knees. He already has platypus movement, where he's slipping and sliding every single time he's trying to circle. It looks bad. It looks painful. He kind of reminds me of Usman. Just like he just doesn't have that wrestling, so he's literally forced to strike. That's his best weapon, The physicality advantage also, I think it's going to favor a Khalil Rountree, who is 6'1", but, builds out pretty well. Like, his physique's pretty crazy. It's an interesting fight. I see people picking Jamahal Hill by knockout. I don't see that happening. I don't. But, he's just a little bit too sloppy with his entries. They're both explosive fighters, but, Khalil's a lot more quick in explosivity, which kind of leads to him fatiguing. But even when he starts to fade against Pereira, the reason Pereira was able to get him out of there in the third is because Pereira's really reactive and, can counterpunch really quickly. So, he would, get out the way. He would hit the flow state, get out the way really quick, and, counter with Khalil. And all those heavy shots, Khalil would go down eventually. And that was accumulation of punches. It wasn't really a one big punch from Pereira, who hits harder than Jamahal, that put him down. It was kind of accumulation, kind of just beat him up. Jamal's he could probably have a time where he could beat him up. I just don't think he's going to have the finishing ability to put out Khalil, because Khalil does have some grit and heart. So even if it does go the distance, I think Khalil can win the first 3 or even 4 rounds, to the point where if Jamahal Hill even tries to put it on him, it is not really going to matter. And I also think Khalil Rountree's endurance is going to improve. I've noticed something about people's endurance is improving lately. I think he's going to be ready for Jamahal Hill, but it's going to be harder for Jamahal Hill to pull this through, just because the striking offense and the diversity of a Khalil Rountree, with his quick 1-2s, to his oblique kicks, to his overhands, to his body kicks. He's really good. He even hurt Pereira with a body kick. People forget, man. Khalil's going to be too much for Jamahal Hill. I think Jamahal Hill gets put out. I have Khalil Rountree by KO or points, and that's my official pick for the main event. Now, let me give y'all some parlays. Fuck, dude. I'm going to call this the risky lay. We're going to go Muhammad Usman, right? Give me Tagar. All right, chat. You guys keeping up with me? We got Usman, Tagar. We're going to skip some of these huge favorites. We're going to go Nimoff. We're going to go... Kunv, Bahamandez, and Rountree. That's the risky one. Let me tell you, solidified parlay we could throw a lot of money on. Khalil Rountree by KO points. Ignacio by KO points. Then we're going to go... This is interesting. Then we're going to go Nimoff, money line. And that's it. That is the guaranteed parlay that will 100% hit. But let me know what you guys think about these picks and predictions down below. We're going to cook. Mr. Kenny's back, brother. That's it for me. And God bless. 2, 3, 4.